Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. When we pull up in your city. Yeah, 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 yeah. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town, about to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they look at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? What sophisticated gentleman, intelligent and tolerant. I'm bothering your politics and breaking down the college tricks. We out of school, so class is out. Fuck all your pedigree, fuck all your clout. Lift everybody and bring them all out. This is the message we preaching about. This is rising tides and we gon' keep it rising. This is our horizon, never modernize it. Fuck your harmonizing and apologetics. Fuck your bishops and the the clerics. Stop the cursing, it's hereditary. When you're out here reversing the seminaries. And we're pulling our future from cemeteries. Out here clowning around like your shit is buried. Fuck all the bullshit is sedentary. Everything else is just secondary. Hating that shit is not necessary. It's too predatory, too reactionary. No imagination is an adversary. No congratulation get you past the berry. This is how you stand it, this is how you carry. This is how you lay it in, this is how you carry. Pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town, about to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they look at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. Woo! When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party, 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 party. Party. Pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to ride the whole town. About to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they look at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party.
What's up, and welcome in everybody to another Wednesday. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are having a nice Wednesday, a beautiful Wednesday. I hope the weather's nice where you are, that the weather's treating you well and all of that good stuff. Today's conversation is going to be a little different. Well, I say that almost every time. It's going to be the same. It's going to be like all of the conversations we've had before. But I think this one is going to really be a good one. It's nice to see y'all in the chat. After you reject Jesus Christ, you're living in darkness and sin that you have chosen. Oh, that's a nice story you tell yourself there. But welcome in, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Today, we're going to be talking about how to live openly after leaving religion. This is the Beyond the Breakup chat, you know. We'll be talking about how to kind of talk to your religious family about your new secular life. And I want to kind of give you what really prompted this. And that's been very important to me, and that's this community that we're building. And one of the members of our community actually asked a question that led to this conversation. So first, let me go ahead and put a user in timeout. There we go. Sometimes you got to help people. You got to remove them because they don't know how to remove themselves. You know what I'm saying? But I have no problem showing people the door. I'm really good at it. You know, I grew up in the Martin generation. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here, you know? But we're going to be talking about it. This conversation came up from one of our members in Bridge City. And I woke up to it this morning and I said, you know what? I'm going to make this my conversation for today. Before we get there, I do have a few announcements. Y'all know I kind of like to keep you updated with what's going on in my world. very interestingly enough, I got selected in a competition called Entrepreneur of Impact. That competition starts next week. If I win, I'll win $25,000, and that's kind of nice. So yeah, Entrepreneur of Impact. Be looking out for more information about that. It starts next week. I'll keep you posted. I know it's hosted by. It's in partnership with like three different organizations. Colossal. The proceeds from the competition go to Gen Youth, which you can look that up. And I know that what is his name? Damon Dash also has something to do with it. So it looks like a pretty cool opportunity. Did we get a super chat already? Man, come on now. Look at that super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. That's so beautiful. I'm always accepting love offerings, jalapeno. But no, and so that's happening. And so if y'all are interested in knowing any more about that, let your boy know in the chat or in the comments, and I'll keep you involved. I know we're going to be rolling out the announcement to our community in Bridge City, and of course our patrons and YouTubes as well, YouTube members as well. Speaking of patron and YouTube members, we're about to do a Ask Me Anything event, specifically for my patrons and my YouTube members. And this is going to be Ask Me Anything Unfiltered. Okay. That means like we're going there. So whatever it is, you can ask me anything unfiltered. It doesn't have to be just about Bridge City. It can be about Bridge City. It can be about DLDD World Group. It can be about my role as an entrepreneur. It can be about my weight loss journey. It can be some advice you want. It can be maybe some rumors you heard. Anything. It's Ask Me Anything Unfiltered. Is going to be for my patrons and for my YouTube members. We're going to be hosting it on our global campus. And we're thinking about maybe doing a ticketed option for people who are not members. And so we'll see how that go. I love it. A few of your chats have been very informative and explanatory to me about guilt, confusion, and sin. I am so glad that that's been helpful. I am so glad that these conversations have been helpful with people. Helpful for people. These are things that I had to struggle with kind of on my own and just kind of process through, kind of in the closet, if you will. And so I'm glad that some of the things that I had to kind of go through on my own, I'm able to share with others so that you don't have to do it on your own. And speaking of not doing it on your own, that's exactly what Bridge City exists for. So for those of you, look, I get it. Some people are like, I don't need community. Then I ain't talking to you right now. I'm talking to the people who do. So for those of you who do need community, you say, look, I need a place where I can have not just conversations about deconstructions, but conversations about how to rebuild my life, how to reorient. And that's kind of like what we're talking about today. Like I don't want to just leave. I also want to live. I want to live after leaving. And that's one of the things that Bridge City is helping people do. And as you can see, that's how we're having this conversation today. We're having this conversation today because Bridge City has created this space where people can start having these conversations. And interestingly enough, this question was not posed directly to me. It was posed to the community. And that's the power of community, when you have people not just to argue with, not just to debate with, but you have people to help you really process some of the questions that are important to you, right? Does that make sense, everybody? You know what I mean? That's my little Dave Chappelle stick. All right, so let's go. So this is the question, and I should have put this. I should have put this in the screen. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it on the screen. We're live. I'm here. I have the ability to Control C just like anybody else. And then I can click a tab. Oh, I just saw a super chat. Came over here right on time. Was never in to begin with, but I love what you do. Always ready to support you. Yes, you can have a meaningful life without religion. Preach it. Preach it. And thank you for that $10 love offering. That is beautiful. And just, ladies and gentlemen, that's just what support looks like. And I appreciate it so much. I appreciate it so much. I've been trying not to say your name because I don't want to say it wrong, but I'm guessing it's Somerset Case 1. Somerset Case 1. Or Summer Case Cache 1. Okay, I might be doing too much on the second one, but we'll go with the first one. Look at my friend Monica is in the building. Look at her. All right, now what did I come over here to do? Okay, because I want to put this question on the screen. I want to put this question on the screen so that y'all can see it. Dum dum dum. Bam. All right. This was the question that my community was having a conversation about this morning, or that it may have been last night. I just saw it this morning. And you are right on time. Is it any advice for telling my wife I've moved on from the faith enough to find another community? And I want to clarify what this question is, and this is why the conversation that we're having today is about how to live openly after leaving religion, because the question is not how to tell my wife that I've left the faith. Is there any advice for telling my wife I've moved on from the faith enough to find another community? That's like a whole nother conversation. I got to read this. I started deconstruction in the late 90s. It was a very lonely journey at that point. The atheist community at this point is awesome. I love to hear that. You got to admit it's getting better. It's getting better all the time. When I told my husband I was no longer going to do the Christianity thing, he basically abandoned me and the church shunned me. That's heartbroken. That's heartbreaking, and it happens way too often. One of the things that really did not sit well with me during my last year of being an active Christian pastor, the year of my deconversion in 2014. That's also the same year I graduated with my first degree in social science, was having to come to terms with just how many families had been destroyed because of religious ideology. Like I've seen people, damn near torture their children. I've seen people kick out their children. I've seen people abandon their children. Hell, even before I became an atheist, my father told me, like, I was a grown man by this time, but my father told me that one of the reasons he abandoned me is because his pastor told him that the Bible says the wife is more important than the children. And so I've seen what religious ideology does to a family, and it's not even just to people who don't believe. Which I'm gonna get back into this real quick, but that just gave me a great reminder of a misconception that we often allow Christians to lead with, and that is that sin is being committed by non-believers, that crime is being committed by non-believers, right? And that's not statistically accurate. The majority of people who identify themselves as sinners are believers. They're just not saved for whatever reason. They believe in the Lord. They just don't want to serve him. Okay. All right. So that's the difference. And so, like, the people who get saved at church, that's why they're using the terminology saved and not converted, because they're not converting anybody. The people who come to church already believe that there is a God. They're not reaching non-believers. They're reaching believers who ain't coming to church, But anyway, I just had to say that. Caregivers abandoned me to the streets. Wow. That's like, man, that's rough. I wish my mouse would stop doing this thing because it cut off the bottom of that comment. And now I want it to go away. There we go. Streets being in the LGBTQ community. Yep, it happens. It happens. I've seen it. I've seen people disown their children for having a different sexual orientation or a different gender identity. And I'm just like, man, at the end of the day, religious ideology often gives us confident permission to condemn what we're not even comprehending. And that's really dangerous when you can confidently condemn something that you've never committed to comprehend. Like, that's narcissistic behavior at that moment. It's horrible. It's horrible. Okay, so this is any advice for telling my wife I've moved on from the faith enough to find another community? And that's a big question. And so now, at first, and I'll read my initial response, just to kind of let you know where my head kind of moves when I'm approached with questions like that. And I said, this is such a great question. And I said, how religious is your wife? Is she every Sunday church attender, or is she a casual believer? How much of your relationship has been shaped or defined by a shared religious perspective? I found that spouses that are casually religious, as opposed to being hyper religious, are typically more accepting. In any case, I think the key is honesty, clarity, and compassion in delivery. Have the two of you talked about deconstruction or deconversion at all? All right, now so those are my type of questions, and I'll kind of let you know why I take that approach before just giving advice, right? And you want to lose respect for me, like give advice without having context. Give advice without having context, then like you're gonna lose my respect. I'm like, no, wait a minute. Now, how did you know to give that advice? So, like, I have to get context, right? And so the context is number one, how religious is your wife? Because the assumption is that everybody who is a Christian, firmly believes this shit. And that's not the reality. I don't care what denomination of Christianity you're dealing with, you can talk to any pastor, any cleric, any bishop, any priest, and they're going to tell you, man, there are varying degrees of belief. Now, I think in many times the atheist community has turned Christianity into a caricature, rightfully so, because it's funny as hell. But we've done somewhat of a disservice to ourselves by turning Christianity into a caricature. So we begin to treat all Christians as the same when they're individuals. And so they have varying levels of belief, they have varying levels of commitment, they have varying levels of contrast, right? Okay, so the first question is, what is the level of her religiosity? Does she take this shit seriously? Like if she goes to church every Sunday and she goes on Wednesdays and she participates in prayer meetings, then whoosh, this is gonna hurt, you know. But if she's just like a believer that just she believes in God, like kind of like people believe in goodness and karma and shit, then 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna have anything to worry about. And so a lot of times we can hype ourselves up to be concerned about something when there really isn't a lot of concern to worry about, which brings me to another good piece of advice. This is like coaching level advice right now, but take it. You have to stop yourself from playing psychic and prophet. And that's one thing we all have to do. It's something I get on myself about. You have to stop yourself from playing psychic and prophet. You don't know how the other person is going to respond, so don't even pretend like you know how they're going to respond. Don't work yourself up trying to figure out how they're going to respond. The best way to figure out how someone is going to respond is to ask them and let them respond. Is to trust them enough to let them respond. Many times what we're afraid of is what's on the other side of that. And it's just like you can't be afraid of that anymore. You can't be afraid of that anymore, you know? Right. Yeah. Like I can't imagine disowning, like I could not imagine disowning my children. Like it's mind blowing to me. Um, so the first question is, what is her level of religiosity? The second question is, excuse me, sorry for coughing in y'all ear. How much of your relationship has actually been shaped or defined by shared religious perspective? Because there are plenty of relationships where both of the people are believers, but that doesn't shape or define their relationship. They didn't meet in a church. You know what I'm saying? They didn't follow church rules. They just so happen to be a part of the same faith culture, you know. And so maybe they go to church on big days, but these are all things that you kind of have to know about the context. And so anytime I'm dealing with someone asking me about advice on marital relationships, I don't just assume, well, ooh, your spouse is a believer, they're not going to take this well, right? And of course, that's why I said I found that spouses that are casually religious as opposed to being hyper religious are typically more accepting, because the people who are like casually religious, they've already made so many compromises in their mind for God. Then it's just like, oh yeah, it's like, nah, God knows your heart. As long as you're a good person, you're going to get into heaven anyway. Like those type of people, like they force everybody into heaven in their mind. And in their mind, God is just like Barney. I love you, you love me. We're a great big family. Because typically those people have the luxury of never having read the book. All right. Okay. So, and of course, the key is honesty, clarity, and compassion and delivery. All right. So after this, he gives us a little bit more context. Now, I rewrote his context to make sure that I'm not exposing one of my members' information out here to just looky-loos and stuff. That's not my goal. This is not me giving advice to him through YouTube. We do that in our community because in our community, you got that access, you know? But we do that in our community. This is me using this as a broader conversation. So yeah, I took his response from this and I've stripped it of personal information and polished it a little bit. So he says, so this is my version of his response. My spouse is actually only casually religious. All right, that's a good sign, which is ironic because I used to be the super religious one in the marriage. Woo. Okay, because that was me. My first marriage, I was the pastor, and I'd been hyper religious since I was like 11. Like I was laying hands on people, I was casting out devils. When I was in high school, people used to call me to cast devils out of people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I did. I was a demon buster, man. Me and my friends. So I was the hyper religious one. My first wife was casually religious. She was a believer. She attended Christian meetings at school sometimes, and by sometimes like maybe twice a year, you know. Her family went to church every now and then, you know, and by every now and then, it meant like maybe 4 times a year, and by family, just her mama, you know, type of thing. Everybody else had something else to do. You know, demon buster. That was, you know, demon. I went from being a demon buster to being on demon time. Now let me stop. All right, y'all. But so like, you know, damn, that caught me off guard. But so I was the hyper religious one, and which is why I was a pastor, and this is why I started a church. And then I when I deconstructed, I already knew that my ex-wife wasn't going. But and even though she was technically casually religious, but we had been married nearly a decade, and so much of her identity was, you know, first lady or co-pastor, you know, whatever. And so now it's just like, you don't want to do this anymore. You just took my whole identity, you know. And I felt bad for that. I'm like, I didn't even know you liked this identity. You didn't act like it, you know. But you know, I did feel bad. But and this is why I said ooh right here, that you know, he used to be the super religious one and she's the casually religious one, is because what happened in my first marriage is when I deconstructed and I left the faith, while we were going through the divorce, my ex-wife became hyper religious. And at one point, like, I was happy for her because she had took over the church, which I asked her to. I was like, hey, because I'm not doing it anymore. And these people, if they still want to come, you know, you're still technically on the leadership team. You have, you know, my blessing, if you will, which the word blessing means bloody, by the way. You have my blood covering. But you have my blessing to take it forward. I don't, you know, I my goal in leaving wasn't to just destroy everything. My goal in leaving was just to be more authentically me, and not to play a role that I felt violated my newfound values. I didn't need the church to die with it. So she did. She stepped up and took over the church for a while. She became extremely hyper religious, and I won't go there, but yeah, it was bad. So sometimes that happens, where and you'll see. So he spent years trying to get them to be as intense about faith as he was, but they never really went there. And that was me, like, because my ex-wife, she didn't speak in tongues, and I'm like, we're Pentecostals, we're charismatics. People don't believe we really saved if we don't speak in tongues, and I'm out here, you know, doing all this tongue talking. It feels like some sexual innuendo in there, doesn't it? Like, but I'm out here doing all this tongue. Damn it, now I can't say it. I'm out here doing all this speaking in tongues, but you ain't, and so people gonna start looking at you like you ain't really saved, and I can't have that because I'm the pastor. And see, now I don't care about any of that shit. But like, so I'd spend time like praying over, come on, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. Doing all of that, trying to get her to be as spiritually vibrant as I was, which is why I kind of felt why she would feel that it's unfair for you to spend all of these years trying to coach me into spiritual vibrancy, for you to spend damn near a decade trying to craft this identity for me to fit in this spiritual world. And then now that I'm thinking about doing it, even though I'm only thinking about doing it because I don't want to lose you, but now that I'm thinking about doing it, you're just leaving. You don't believe in any of it anymore. It's a very weird shift for people to experience in their marriages. So, but he says now the roles have flipped. Even though we married within a religious framework, my value system has shifted significantly. I've already told them that I've left the faith, but what I'm struggling with now is actually living like I've left. He says, I'm dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety about being open with them regarding my new community. And for those of you who are wondering what that new community is, it's Bridge City. As a matter of fact, if you go to Bridge City right now, you can see this conversation in real time. I mean, if you join. All right. And so since I've been slowly, okay, I'm gonna make sure I didn't skip anything. New community. He says, I worry about the reaction when I say I'm watching videos or engaging with content that is explicitly secular or focused on further deconstruction. I've been slowly introducing my new thoughts and beliefs, and so far, it's been okay. We're even seeing a therapist together, which helps. I think my biggest hurdle is just getting over the fear of judgment. I don't want to hurt their feelings by making it seem like I'm just going off to meet with a group of atheists to bash the faith that they are already sad that I left. I want to find a way to share my new community without it feeling like an attack on their world. Now that is good. To me, like, these are the type of questions that I wake up to answer. These are the type of questions that I come alive about, right? And let me tell you why. Because this is a question of compassion. It's a question of concern. It's a question of humanity. This is not a question of how do I win. It's not a question of how do I beat up my wife, which please don't ask me that. It's not a question of how do I, what scriptures can I show my wife that the Bible is bullshit? Those types of questions for me, I'm not saying that is for everybody. I'm talking about me. And when you're talking about preference, you're talking about taste, and taste is personal. So for me, that shit is personally pedantic, and I think it doesn't, anyway, I'm not gonna go that far, but it's pedantic for me. There are other people who can help with do that stuff. But when you're asking a question like this, damn it, I come alive, right? Because you can hear his concern for his wife, and you can hear, like, he's not asking me how do I win against her. He's like, no, how do I show her, how do I share that I'm moving beyond just not being in the faith anymore, and I'm actually trying to live my new identity, my new values, and I want to live them openly, but I don't want you to feel attacked by my authenticity. Is that good? No. Like, my authenticity should not be an attack on someone else. And if it is, then I've literally just reversed the polarity. If me coming out of the faith leads to my whole existence now, my whole existence now is an attack of people who are still in the faith, then I just switch sides. I didn't get free. I switched sides. You see that? You just reverse the polarity. I mean, you're doing the same thing. You're still doing, and it's like, no, that's unnecessary. So what I love here is that the goal here isn't to, he's trying to say, I want to be able to live my authentic life without attacking, without my wife feeling like it's an attack on her. And I felt that, like, that's a valid question. That's a valid question. No Kings protest across the country. We are showing up together again on March 28th. Let's do it. All right. So the deepest tension in his response for me is this. He has already left internally, right? He's already left the faith internally. And from my understanding, that's a conversation they've had. She already knows he no longer believes. But now it's not just that I no longer believe, it's that and this is beautiful to me. This part is beautiful because this is because of us. We did this in a good way, because this small part, not the tension in the marriage, but this small part right here, it's not that he's left, it's not just that he's left, it's that he's getting ready to start living. Okay? We did that, Bridge City. Bridge City, y'all, yes, no, we did that. It's like, nah. See, for some people's journey is I left. And now my whole life is defined by what I left, not by how I'm living now. And so he said, I've left. Yeah, I'm gone. But now, because of Bridge City, I'm ready to live. And just to give you context, the living part here is this is from, I think I can safely say this without giving too much information away. This is from our Bridge City, Florida community, because we got a lot of members in Florida and they're starting to meet up, especially in the Southern Florida area, that Miami area, Miami Beach, hey, but especially in like the Southern Florida area. And so they're starting to meet up with each other. And he's getting ready to go to one of these meetups. And now he's sitting with the anxiety of, ooh, oh snap, I'm taking another step further out of the cave, and I'm about to start actively living my life, like that's who I'm about to start actively finding other people that share some of these new values with me, right? And so he's already left internally. Now he's trying to learn how to live externally without feeling like every step is an act of betrayal. And that's where many of us get stuck at. Again, your authenticity becomes attack instead of autonomy. My authenticity is for my autonomy. It is not to take over anybody else's autonomy, right? So I gathered a few notes here because I said, you know what? I think this is a bigger conversation for the whole community. I think this is something we should talk about. And by the way, we're getting ready to start unrolling some different membership tiers in Bridge City for people to get connected on different levels. And it'll be these types of conversations that we'll really be deep diving in. But the first one is, my first little note is leaving the faith is not the same as learning how to live after it. And I want us all to sit with that for a moment, okay? I wish I had some like Kenny G or something playing in the background. Like, no, leaving the faith is not the same as learning how to live after it. Leaving the faith is not the same as learning how to live after it. Okay. Now, like I always tell y'all, like the biggest thing I learned about my deconstruction, or biggest thing I learned through my deconversion, is not that people lied to me. Nope. Because that's not helpful information. Oh, this is good. Nah, knowing that people lie to me is not useful information, nor is it news. No, that's not new information. No, it's not useful. I can't do anything actionable with that particular piece of information. That data set is not helpful. All right. So what I learned through my deconstruction, Oh, I love that. I'm excited for Bridge City and seeing all that you're doing. I appreciate you, Joshua. I appreciate you. Get on over here in the global campus, man, and see how things are going. The greatest thing I learned through my deconstruction or my deconversion is that I believed lies. Okay, now when you start there, now that's something to unpack. It's not no, oh, they lied to me, or they didn't tell me this, or they no. I believe stuff that was not true. How do I get there? I didn't verify information. How do I get there? I didn't think verification of information was a necessity. How did I get there? I don't know how to know. All right. Okay. Leaving the faith is not the same as learning how to live after it. If I didn't go through that process, I'd still be stuck where a lot of people are stuck at. And that's just in, some people left the faith 30 years ago and are still yelling at it. I don't want to be yelling at it 30 years from now. I think after my first divorce, I think maybe 3 or 4 years, me and my ex-wife spent fussing back and forth. And after about the 4th year, I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not about to fuss with you. Why am I about to be sitting here fussing with somebody I done left? No. And so no, leaving is not the same as learning how to live after it. And that's really where the tension of this is. This person has left and now they're learning how to live after it. A lot of people think deconstruction ends when you stop believing, but that is only phase 1. You now have to do some inventory. You now got to do an audit. How did I get myself into this predicament in the first place? How did I come to believe so many things that were not true? How did I come to just be so trusting of information? How did I skip the scientific method? What can I do to help get past my anger after deconstruction? That's a great question. That is a great question. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Some of that we're going to be hitting in this. Some of that we're going to be hitting in this. And let me scroll down here just to make sure I can see that. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Beautiful. This is going to sound like a shameless plug, but I mean it. And that's peer-to-peer. And I mean it. Join a community like Bridge City. Join a community like Bridge City. Actually, damn, even better. And I hate to sound like a preacher, but hey, that's what I am. I do it because I think it's helpful. And so if I think it's helpful, I'd be wrong if I don't plug it. So another one is you might want to be in some of our Sunday sessions, because that's literally what our Sunday sessions are designed to do, to help people reorient after leaving religion, or reorient after leaving traditional society while we are building new social infrastructure for belonging in a post-religious world. And so right now we're in a Sunday session series called The Greater Gospel, where we're talking about how humanism is actually more liberating than what we've gotten from religion. And then the series after this, we're going to go into a conversation called Louder, where we're going to be talking about how we can, because we're on the other side of a religious worldview, because we're over that, we can love louder, we can live louder, we can lift louder, support. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about increasing the volume. And so what you do is you take that energy that you would normally put into the things you hate, and you put that energy into the things you love. Because the problem that we're having in the world is that we are giving too much attention to the things that we don't want to see, which is therefore guaranteeing that they stay relevant, and giving almost little to no attention to the things that we actually need and the things that we actually want to see in the world. So that first message that's coming in that series is called Stop Hating. You know what I'm saying? It's called Stop Hating. And so no, again, joining Bridge City, getting in on some of these Sunday sessions, I think that'll be a big help for helping you get past that anger. And it's not because of me. I tell you one thing, the people who get the most success out of Bridge City are not the people who connect to Bridge City for me, but there are people who connect to Bridge City for themselves and to connect with other people. And the people who are doing that, like, damn, it's been transformative. So yes. Hola, amigos. ¿Cuál es tu? No, I forgot the end of the sentence. ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? Yo necesito ir al baño muy mal. I think that's right. I think that's right. I hope that was helpful peer to peer. Man, yes, it's been a lot of torment and a lot of cruelty and a lot of violence. And we're going to be the counter to that. Better yet, we're not just going to be the counter, we're going to be the cure. You feel me? We're going to be the cure. See, the revolution will not be televised. It has to be actualized. Damn it, just slipped up into some good gold nuggets. Can I get a hell yeah? Yeah, the revolution will not be televised. It'll be actualized. If it's televised, that means you're sitting on the sidelines watching it happen. If it's actualized, that means we've gotten the game and we're doing it together. And that's what happens there. All right. So, okay, so deconstruction doesn't end when you stop believing. Come on now. There we go. Jalapeno habanera, hell yeah. Deconstruction doesn't stop when you stop believing. That's where deconstruction starts at. for religious deconstruction, that's where deconstruction starts at. You've deconstructed the belief. Now you need to deconstruct why you believed it. Hell yeah. Now you need to deconstruct why you believed it, how you got yourself in that predicament. And then once you're there, or just even kind of in there, the next step is learning how to speak honestly, how to build new routines, how to form new community. Hello, Bridge City. How to stop self-censoring, and how to stop feeling guilty for moving forward. Okay. Now, and this is one of the things that I really didn't like about like the YouTube atheist YouTube space, is that I started really seeing a lot of people having to self-censor themselves. And I'm like, what? We're forcing an echo chamber at that moment. And that's not what I want to do, So you stop self-censoring and stop feeling guilty for moving forward. So there's a difference between intellectual deconversion and social emotional transition. And that's where my work comes in, is not just the intellectual deconversion part, but also the social emotional transition, because that's how you live. That's how you survive. That's how you determine who you are on the other side of that. Whether you're going to be shattered pieces, whether you're just going to be a survivor, or whether you're going to come on the other side of that as someone that you are sincerely proud of. See, what I love about me, this is why I smile. This is why I laugh. This is why you don't see me complaining a lot, because I sincerely love where my life has grown into since I left. Because the difference between me and some is some left to Yale, I left to live. Damn it, this is good. Okay, no, and that's what I've been talking about in the greater gospel, like all month long. No, I didn't just leave Christianity because the gospel was broken. I left because it was limited. Okay, so not only did I leave to live, I also left to love. I left to expand the boundaries of my love. I left to expand the containers of my love. I left to grow the reach of how many people I love. So I can't be a part of a community who's telling me who I can't love. I can't do that, because I left to live, and I left to love, and God damn it, I left to lead. I'm not sitting on the sidelines. Okay, I'm sorry. Did we go too far? Did we go too far? Am I doing too much? Y'all let me know. Let me know now. Talk to you, boy. Don't have me out here being silly. All right. So he's not asking, do I still believe? He's asking, how do I stop living like I need permission to move on? And that's powerful, you know, because and listen again, I'm excited about it because that's the tension that Bridge City created. We created that tension. We created that tension by creating the option to move on. Ooh, I like that. We created that tension by creating the option to move on. See, if there wasn't a group of people, oh shit, okay, watch this. Content. If I wasn't putting the content out and telling people, hey, we're trying to build community. We're trying to build community. If I wasn't doing that, then nobody in Florida would have ever seen me saying, hey, we're trying to build community. All right. But then because people in Florida saw, hey, we trying to be community. And they were able to get through the triggering of how much I sound like a preacher. And they were able to get through the triggering of the weird music that I have playing sometimes. Because, you know, you get all types of stuff from over here. They were able to deal with all of my goofy, neurospicy bullshit, right? And decided, ooh, I really want to do this. And because of that, there is now an option for him in his area that now creates tension because an option exists. And that option is to live. Because what is Bridge City's mission? To help people connect better, build better, and bada boom, live better. So he's sitting with this tension. Oh man, I'm glad y'all can catch it, man. Sitting with this tension because we created this option. And I got to roll up this chat a little bit and see if I'm missing anything. Oh man. Oh, goodness gracious. Why can't my mouse work right? To control. Oh, yes, that impulse to control how other it's so amazing. It's so amazing. Y'all are hilarious. Okay. It's lonely when everyone I know are into some form of Christianity. I feel abandoned by friends and fam, like, because I don't believe in the BS. I'm wicked now. Right. And so, and like, listen, like, and that's what I'm trying to show people. Like, that's what, listen, we're coming. Bridge City is coming. The bridges are coming. Okay. The bridges are coming. The bridges are coming. Because that's what Bridge City is for. Like, I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but I just got to hit this right here because I think it's important. Bridge City is an option that gives people a place to go that doesn't trap them in where they left, right? Okay, now, as that happens, it's not just an option for you. It becomes an option for the people you love, right? Because right now, there isn't much that we can invite people who may be on the fringes or even all the way in to that feels like neutral territory. So, you know, there is a method to the madness. You know what I'm saying? There is a method. There is a methodology here. There's a methodology here. Because then all of a sudden you say, hey, you know what? Hey, this is the community that I'm a part of. They're hosting a film festival. Would you like to come? You know? Hey, you know, listen, they're starting a new series, actually, because the May series, this isn't set in stone, but the May series is going to be called Not Safe for Work, Bringing Sexy Back. And we're going to be talking about really just breaking free from purity culture. And it's going to be spicy. It's going to be spicy. So you'll have things that you can invite people to that isn't, hey, here's some people bashing your religion. The bridges are coming. And then while they're sitting in there, they're getting all of this dose of critical thinking. You know, oh no, we are about to help move the world forward. Okay. All right. So he says, so again, the big point is he's not asking, do I still believe? He's asking, how do I stop living like I need permission to move on? And that tension exists because Bridge City is now an option for him to move on, right? So number two, the anxiety is not necessarily about his wife. It may be about his former self. Another strong angle here is that sometimes the fear of judgment is not only the fear of another person's reaction. Sometimes it's also the fear of the residue of our own old identity, you know? And then like I recently had a conversation with someone in the community. I'm telling you, I love my community, y'all. I recently had a conversation with someone in my community who had started distancing themselves for a while. And what two things happened. I didn't reach out to them, right? And I ended up telling them why, but I didn't reach out to them. And at the same time, they really didn't reach out to me or anybody else to discuss what was happening with them. And so, not too much was happening. And so for whatever reason, I think maybe like 2 or 3 months had passed, almost 3 months. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna reach out and just start checking on this person. Um, and the reason I hadn't been reaching out to them before is kind of like what I'm talking about here. Was the residue of the old identity. It A part of it was like, oh, I don't want to be bothering, these people. Yeah, so there is some fear of how they're going to respond, but there was also fear of me being like, ooh, hit me up if you want some inside stories of purity culture. Ooh, but I know polygamous Mormons go, ooh, yes, yes. Okay, we're gonna have to put together a whole group on the global campus, Jude, where we like start putting together some conversations because that is where I want us to get to with the Sunday sessions. Like I want a writing collective on that thing, man. Oh, that's good. That's good. Damn it! Now I forgot what I was saying. Somebody remind me. What was I saying? Oh, the for me, it wasn't just the fear of how they were going to respond. It was also the fear of, ooh, this, I don't want to be like a pastor, because like my job as a pastor was to check up on people, like, but it's just like, that wasn't, watch this, that wasn't my job as a pastor. And that's the residue part. I wasn't checking up on people because I was a Christian pastor. I was checking up on people because I was a responsible leader. Okay. So I started back reaching out and I said, hey, just want to check in, make sure everything's okay. No pressure stuff. No, hey, why I ain't seen you on the campus? Nothing like that. Just, hey, hope you're having a great day. Bam. And then they started reaching back out and was like, hey, you know what? Can I talk to you? I got something that's been really bothering me. And I was like, oh shit, they about to cuss me out about something. And we get on the phone and it's like, oh man, it was one of the most beautiful conversations ever. And it was just something really minor, but the same thing I was dealing with, of that residue of being a pastor and not wanting to reach out, was the same thing they were dealing with, of that residue of being a church member and afraid that, oh, if I talk about this way that I feel, I'm going to be looked at differently and shunned by the community, especially in a context where when you're used to in the Black church, when it's a female that has a problem, it's almost always her problem. And so we're both dealing with this residue. And that's the stuff that a lot of times it's not even our fear of how the other person is going to respond. It's us. And in this case, he used to be the hyper religious one. He used to be the one trying to pull her deeper in. So now the fear might be shame. The fear might be role confusion, guilt, even embarrassment, you know. It could even be in the internalized fear of living like, I'm the backslider now. I'm the deceived one. If I was going to be my old person, and you're living with seeing yourself through your old eyes, so he may still be carrying like the psychological surveillance of his former belief system, even if his wife is not enforcing it. Is there anybody out there that's living with the psychological surveillance of your former belief system? You no longer believe, but you feel like you are a psychological hostage to the surveillance of the belief system, which means like you still internally judge yourself for things that you don't even believe in. Mm-hmm. You still internally hold yourself kind of accountable or to belief systems that you don't believe anymore. See, that's what we're talking about today, living after leaving. And it's not an overnight thing, you know. I remember when my daughters were first hitting their teenage years and started getting to pick out their own clothes. That was very uncomfortable for me. Like, what? Like, ooh, I think we were at the mall one time, and she had picked out something. My oldest daughter had picked out something, and she had just put it in the buggy. And I'm looking at my wife like, I know at any moment now you're gonna say, "Hey, you got to put that back. You're not getting that." At any moment, you're gonna say, "Hey, take that back," and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I said, "Hey, wait a minute." And so I said it. "Hey, excuse me, we don't. Why are we getting this? What are we getting this for?" And then I had to sit with that. I'm like, "Why did you do that? Why was that your response?" Like, that's learning how to live after leaving, where you start dealing honestly with yourself. And like, you just made your daughter feel bad about something that she wanted to wear because of this psychological surveillance of your former belief system. Oh man. And so sometimes we do that to ourselves, even when other people are not necessarily enforcing it. We're seeing ourselves through the lens of the former belief system, and then we're projecting that into them. This is what they're going to say about me. They're going to see me as this, and that's really how you're seeing yourself. That's how you're seeing yourself. Okay? And so that's like, ooh, let's talk about sex, right? Talk about sex. You leave the system, you leave the belief system, and you're out here, you're safely engaging in consensual, coitus with other people. But that psychological surveillance is still using attachment attachment language such as promiscuous. It's like, ooh, why is it that? And of course there are worse words that are used there. I just chose that one. Or you're touching yourself and you're like, oh, this is wrong. Why is that wrong? That's that psychological surveillance where there's already one of the ways. One of the exercises that I used to lead people in doing right after deconstruction is I just call it laying all the cards on the table, type of thing. But it's a very simple exercise, but it's you write down everything you can think of about and it's specifically your likes, the things that you like, don't like, stuff like that. And try to get it all out. Try to get as much of it out as you can. Your good stuff, your bad stuff, your nasty stuff, your naughty stuff. You want to get all that out there. You put it all on without judgment, without any negative or positive values attached to it. This is just me. And you get all of you out, and then you look at it, and then you go through each one of them and answer one question: why? But you answer it 5 times. You do 5 whys all the way down to get to how much of my thoughts about what I do in life are actually my current thoughts. Because one thing that I found about the way many of us live life, this inner dome here is crowded as fuck in most people's lives. Now mine is crowded, but it's all me. I just got a whole bunch of personalities in here, but it's all me. I spent a long time kicking a lot of motherfuckers out of here. Okay. And so that psychological surveillance, it's not just religious, because what people find when they kind of go through that process, they're like, that's not my like or dislike. That's my mama's like or dislike. That's what my dad didn't like or dislike. This is Aunt Pearline shit, So you begin to find that, like, most of our lives, the thoughts that we have are the psychological surveillance of things that we don't even necessarily believe. But that's why I go back and I say, when I deconverted, the lesson wasn't they lied to me. The lesson was I believe things that are not true. And if I believe things that are not true, that means there's a deeper problem. I don't know how to know, right? And so then when you start realizing, like, how much of what I think how much of what I think I know is coming from somebody else's certainty, and how did their certainty start to live in me? And that's when you start getting into that psychological surveillance. Like, damn, grandma been living in my head. Like, everybody you done slept with, grandma been right there with you. Ain't that weird? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you that imagery. I just fucked up somebody's sex life for life, every time. But you ain't gonna be able to ask nobody out on a date no more. Can't nobody come in your house because Granny gonna always be there with you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. Oh man. All right, so excuse me. Oh man, that was too good. That was too good. All right. So it's not just how do you tell it. The question is not just how do I tell my spouse. It becomes how do you recognize when the church is still living in your nervous system? You know, because because what that is like, we'll go through it. I want to deal with the identity whiplash part because there's something called the zealots tax. And many people in the community were the super religious ones in their relationships. A lot of the people who are the most effective on this side of things in the community are people who were super religious on the other side. But when they leave, their partners, they're not just losing a co-believer. They're they're losing the person who was the spiritual anchor in the relationship. And that can be difficult. So a lot of times the partner's just waiting for the other shoe to drop. If you were intense about Jesus, then they're assuming you're going to be just as tense and potentially judgmental about atheism or Bridge City. Oh no, if you don't come to Bridge City, you're not a good person. Oh, that's good. I feel the more I speak out and without shame and honesty, the better I feel, less scared and withdrawn. Absolutely. Yes, I love that. I love that. And the strategy is really to demonstrate emotional stability over ideological intensity. And I think that's the one we kind of get switched up a lot. Because I get it. You come out, and thankfully this isn't a case where he's, where he just got, just left the faith. But a lot of times some people leave the faith and their pivot point is ideological intensity. I'm going to be super duper intense about no longer believing. I'm going to be super duper intense about proving that the Bible is wrong. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like I do that. I does that, right? That's not a bad thing. The problem is if you have more ideological intensity than you have emotional stability, then it's really hard to see the difference between your old indoctrination and your new indoctrination. Because that's what indoctrinate, like that's what ideological intensity reminds. If we're just focused on the ideology and not the stability of systems, then I'm a little concerned. All right. So the goal here isn't to convert the spouse to Bridge City. It isn't to convert the spouse to atheism, but it's to show that the new community that you found makes you more grounded and makes you a less anxious partner. All right. And that's a good thing right there. See, I'm not doing this against you. I'm doing this for me. Right. And again, that's why I opened up and I said, that's why I love this conversation. That's why I love this question. This is why I fucking love my community, because these are the type of questions that make me come alive. Right. Not how can I beat them? How can I be me? Not how can I be against them? How can I be for me? right? And that's a key in communication for anybody who's dealing with that situation, dealing with any situation similar to this, where you're with maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a child, and you're moving on. You haven't just left the faith, but you're now living your life unapologetically, unashamedly. Maybe you're getting involved with other people, and getting involved in community. The best way to communicate it to people in your life is like, hey, this is not something I'm doing against you. This is something that I'm doing for me. And the key there is to make sure that that's true. Make sure that that's true. My third one is moving on can feel cruel even when it's honest. And I know this. Like, again, I've been through a divorce, one that I initiated, and I initiated because, and I'm not suggesting these people divorce. This is an entirely different context. But I divorced because I knew that where I was headed and what she was willing to tolerate was going to be, wasn't going to work. But she would have been the type of person that just would have stayed married and miserable. And I'm just, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I may not be here for a long time, but I at least want to be here for a good time. Okay. So moving on can feel cruel, even when it's honest, even when it's handled softly. And in this case, this isn't moving on from the relationship. This is moving on from the faith, which means now people are going to publicly see me involved in things, especially like a Bridge City type of thing, and that's potential weekly engagement. So when she's going to church on Sunday and he's not, and people ask, hey, where's your husband? He's at home. He's watching the game. No big deal. Because the Lord will bring him back one day. She's going to church and they say, hey, where's your husband? And she says, oh, well, he's actually over at Bridge City this Sunday. Well, what's Bridge City? Well, that's a place for people who, I guess it's a place for people who left religion or something. And he's been hanging out with them a while. Now that brings tension in the marriage for questions that she has to answer, So, and that's why I love his approach here, because it's a legitimately human concern. It's legitimately human. He doesn't want his new community exploration to sound like I found better people, or I outgrew what matters to you, or even I'm joining spaces that mock what still has emotional weight for you. And this is such a different context that the human imagination is not necessarily equipped to visualizing. So some of you may be having trouble catching it. So let me give you a kind of parallel to kind of catch it. It's like having an open marriage, right? It's like having an open marriage that you've agreed to keep private. Okay, it's having an open marriage that you've agreed to keep private, but then one of the people is out there not being private. That creates tension on the relationship. It's like, look, I knew you were doing this, but I can't handle everybody else knowing that you're doing this. Like, now other people are going to see it. And then what are you going to do if y'all start wearing shirts and shit? Because we do have shirts. If you haven't checked them out, they're on Window Shop and they're dope. Okay, they're dope. But you're gonna be wearing shirts with little messaging on there. Like, God's not dead. Yes, he is. Oh, I don't know where that one came from, but that was funny. Like there's all these type of things that people are gonna think about, and that's what he's trying to be proactive about. Is I don't want my messaging to my wife, and I don't want my living after leaving to be seen as me just trying to mock what still has emotional weight for her. And that's what relationships are. Like, yes, what you believe is absolutely bullshit to me. Oh, it's bullshit. Okay. But if I'm committed to staying in this marriage, then I have to act like I care. I owe you that. Like if I'm going to be married to you and not act like I care for you, and no, if you don't want to be with somebody who believes in bullshit, you divorce, right? But if you're going to stay, then you do exactly what this brother is trying to do, and that is to be considerate of how he approaches his partner in this relationship. You know? Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna read this. Just joining in. I wish I heard this topic from the beginning. My fiance is still in the faith, more progressive, so our other values align, except for religion. She leans heavy into Jesus. This is the right conversation. And so what he's trying to do is he's trying to be considerate of the fact of how this is going to be perceived on her end. He knows that, no, I don't believe what you believe, but I know what you believe matters to you. And so because what you believe matters to you and you matter to me, then I'm going to be mindful of how I approach you. Now, I'm not going to let that stop me from living because you're not letting it stop you from living. Okay. Like, you know, I don't believe in the bullshit and you have no problem still going to church. None whatsoever. And I have no problem letting you go. That just sounds so misogynistic. I guess I'll let you go. No, but I have no problem letting you go, right? So that seems to be the context. She's currently going to church. You have no problem with her going to church. So in essence, all you're really going to be asking her to do is to give you the same grace that you're giving her. And honestly, I think in this case, it might be, I think in this brother's case, I think it's going to work out, I'm not a prophet. I'm not a psychic. I just think. So the big point is here, though, he's not trying to wound her, he's trying to find a way to communicate without contempt. You're living. I need to live too, one of the clearest points is that moving on is not the same as attacking what someone else still values, right? I don't think, me personally, I don't think debating Bible bullshit belongs in a intimate relationship, And when I say intimate, I'm not just talking about sexual. I think, no, like if we're really good friends, I don't think debating it is going to be very conducive for the friendship. We're friends in despite not sharing that common ground there. Right. Because otherwise I don't like putting the tension of conversion on friendships because then it's like, you're not really my friend until I win you. And I don't like to be friends with people like that. I don't like to be friends with people who are going to treat me like a project. Like, we kind of friends now, but when you come back to Jesus, then we'll be really friends. Oh, that's one of the reasons I never joined gangs when I was a kid. Like, some of my friends, they tried to get me to join a gang. And first I was like, bruh, this is Dothan, Alabama. Y'all just playing, But then second, like, they couldn't sell me on it. Like, I was like, what's the benefits? I'm a pragmatist. And what's the benefits? And it's like, well, if you in our gang and you get in a fight, we all got your back. And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, you just told on yourself, bro. You just told on yourself, because now you have to answer a very important question for me. Does that mean if I get in a fight right now, you don't have my back? And if you don't, are we really friends? And so that's how I feel about, like, having close relationships with people who are not just believers, but they're believers who want me to be a believer. I need you to be okay being a believer by your damn self. That's like, because I'm okay being an atheist by myself. Like, when I'm in a relationship with people, I'm not trying to force them into stop believing. Honestly, that's the last thing I want to talk about. Like, if we friends, that's not what we friends for, So moving on is not the same as attacking what someone else still values. A good public conversation is really, or a good conversation to start having is finding language for where you are. Is communicating that, no, I need spaces where I can be honest. Because that's And again, and that's the frame again, for me, not against you, right? For me, not against you. I've left, but I still don't know how to live with this yet because I don't have anywhere to express it. I don't, other than online spaces, and it's really hard to feel those out, right? So he said, I don't have a place to actually live out my new truth. So now I have this new identity, but I don't have anybody to share this new identity with who shares the values that comes with this new identity. Like I can share the identity with you because you live here, but you don't share the values that comes with the new identity. So I don't even get to explore the newness of who I am. I don't even get to explore and unfold in who I am becoming because there's nowhere for me to do that at. Until Bridge City came along. God damn it, that's good. I'm gonna be doing that this whole conversation, so you might as well get ready. Jalapeno. But Bridge City comes along, and it's like, oh yeah, now I kind of got a place that I can talk to other people, and it's not even, watch this, because this is the beauty of Bridge City. Bridge City is not an atheist space. It's a people space. I think that's the PowerPoint. Oh, you see what I did there? It's communicating like this isn't about humiliating your faith, and I think Bridge City does a good job of painting ourselves as not being the people who are trying to humiliate people's faith. Now Darante does an excellent job of humiliating the faith, but Bridge City, that's not what Bridge City does. No, these hands. Okay, let me stop. And then of course, most importantly, communicating that this is about me needing support for my own transition, and that's really the key. I love this. I got to read this one. It is why groups like Bridge City Global is important. Oh dang, I got to scroll up now. Damn it. Okay, I'm using two computers so I can. There we go. Now let me move my mic. All right, so it says this is why groups like Bridge City Global is important. More non-believers and communities to help them navigate this journey and meet others like them. I applaud Darante for creating this space. I accept that applause. Thank you, graciously. Now, if I was still a believer, I'd say all glory to God, all glory to God. But now I take the credit and the check. Jalapeno. Yes. It's like valuing a participation trophy for being ignorant. That is hilarious. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for those kind words. But many people freeze not because they're dishonest, but because they don't know how to move forward without sounding cruel. And that's one of the things that traps people where they are, even some people that do have options, because Bridge City is not the first, right? There's been Sunday Assembly, there's been Oasis, there's been Unitarian. Bridge City is not the first. We're just the most contemporary. Oh, sit with that. Because I'm a data guy. So anytime I'm doing anything, I'm paying attention to what that's right. Take the check, man. I'm paying attention to what the field looks like. I'm trying to see who I can learn from, who I can partner with. And when I took a look when I took a look out over the field, I was like, oh, almost every other secular community that was doing the community thing. So, and those are kind of the ones I just mentioned, are operating like churches operated in the 70s. Hell, not even the 70s, because hell, even the 70s is kind of like when the big boom hit. So they got acting like churches were acting when they was in the 50s. And I'm like, oh, that ain't gonna help. That's because I think people don't realize, like, there is a science and a structure to community and belonging. It is not just like, hey, let's just pick a date to hang out. Somebody once said, it's like, instead of doing this, like, no, if you need community, just join a hiking club. I don't get what the big deal is. And I'm like, if you can reduce what a community does to a hiking club, to something that just does one thing, then you have no fucking clue what a community is. Like, you're not even thinking straight at that moment. You know what I'm saying? That's like someone saying, I think I want to move to a new city. No, you don't need to live in a city. Just go get you a buggy. Like, what are you saying? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Go back to the children's table. Go. Get in the corner, hands up, book on your head, 1 foot off the ground. Drill Sergeant Dad. Okay. I don't know why I went there, but that was funny to me. But yeah, a lot of times people don't know how to move forward without sounding cruel. Man. Yeah. Yep. Some people you can't say you don't follow the Bible because they will refuse to assist you. So it's best to say I'm secular or I refuse to be apologetic. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. So the next point I wanted to pull from this, and I think we'll wrap up in about 15. New community can feel like infidelity. And that's a new feeling for a lot of people because a lot of people have not had like community as an option, not as a viable option, not as a local option, not as an option where it's like, oh no, this is something that I can get engaged in. This is something that can help me volunteer. This is something that can help me build with other people. This is something that can help me sharpen my skills, Josh, that's an excellent idea. I'd encourage you to do it. I'd encourage you to test it. I'd encourage you to try it. And if you wanted to partner with Bridge City to do it, holla at your boy. We're now creating the option the opportunity, the space. When I first started building the vision for Bridge City, I had 2 goals in mind: a safe space for people to land, and a soft space for people to live. I got that backwards. A soft space for people to land and a safe space for people to live. Because I was realizing from a sociological perspective that when people were deconstructing and deconverting, even if they didn't fully deconvert, when people were going through deconstruction, that it was causing a lot of personal and societal traumatic stress that if happened on a larger scale, like we kind of want to happen, would be absolutely detrimental to the way we relate to each other. Because so many of our social structures depend on the imagery of belief. So many of them. And so a part in Bridge City is just one spoke in the wheel, y'all. Like DLDD World Group is my master plan. So it's like we have to build social infrastructure that can catch people. So when they're deconstructing, they have a soft space to land where they're not breaking their lives when their beliefs break. So they get a soft space to land, but then they get a safe space to live. Because landing isn't the end of the job. Now you got to live. Leaving isn't the end. We need you to live, because listen, if you don't live, there's a whole bunch of people who are still in that bullshit, who are living that bullshit out loud, and it's going to impact all of us. So I need you to be in a position to live out loud. Even if we got to be the midget on the mountain. At first, I was upset that I hadn't seen you on the line lately, but I realized I love your solo content a lot more. Keep going. Support from NC. That is beautiful. Thank you for that. That just made my day a little bit. Ooh, I like that. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love this community. All right. I didn't do a big announcement when I resigned from the line, did I? I'm sorry. I just left everybody out. I'm sorry. All right. So new community can feel like infidelity. And just to give you insight, I didn't resign from the line over anything major. I just felt that as much as I love and appreciate the work they do, it was attracting the wrong crowd to my channel and for the work that I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to teach you how to own Christians. And honestly, here's a fun fact about Darante. I don't like talking to believers. Now, we have somebody on the Bridge City team now that I absolutely love. He's taken over our students and our families initiatives, but he loves epistemology. So we're going to have him doing a lot of stuff like that. But I don't like talking to believers, especially not the ones that call in on call-in shows. Because number one, I don't take them seriously. Like, to me, those are like trolls. Like, I like talk. If I'm gonna talk to a believer, I want to talk to like the real ones. But I don't even like talking to them. No, but nah. But yeah, it's like for the work that I'm trying to do, popularity is not that important to me. Like, I know popularity is useful, but I'm not a bandwagoner. I'm not a trend person, and so if I see something doesn't align with where I'm trying to go, I have the discipline to pivot, and so that's what that was kind of for me. And because also noticing the atheist YouTube space, they use the word "we" a lot before talking to me, and I don't like that. I don't like when people use "we" to speak for me about something that they don't even know if that's where I stand. That's fair. And I don't think anybody did it purposefully, but I was on like 3 different shows where people kept doing that. Well, we all think, and I'm like, whoa, I don't think that, you know. I'm like, oh, that's not what I think at all. Mm-mm, I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay. Let me get back to this. So back to regularly scheduled programming. All right. Oh man. Yeah, that's right. They try to re-hypnotize you. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm not about to do that. All right. So new community can feel like infidelity. Now it feels like you're cheating on me now, you know. For many couples, especially those formed under Christianity, faith was not just a belief system. It was a shared world, shared moral language, shared story, and shared belonging. Ooh, I learned from both. Sometimes hearing the arguments and debates help me to break by old beliefs. Yes, system. But it would be nice if Bridge City has Bible study classes to point out flaws and contradictions. Ooh, yes. I used to do Bible study with the next pastor. I might pick that back up. So when one spouse starts finding support elsewhere, it can feel symbolically similar to cheating. Um, Damn, I never thought about that, but that's right. It feels symbolically like cheating. And not in a sense like you're having an affair on the belief system, more like it's a constant concern of, is that going to take you away from me, type of thing. Because now you're getting intimacy from somewhere that I can't follow you. It's like going to a okay, see, like, don't put that type of language on it. Monica said that's a Bible study I'd pay for. See, okay, see, that's how you get your boy motivated. Let me stop. But no, I do mean that. Like, no, that definitely gets me motivated. I'm like, oh snap. Here's my take on money. The more we have as an organization, the more we can do. Like right now, we have to be slow and very calculating and very very frugal and stewardship, all that good stuff. But if we had a powerful revenue engine, bruh, there would be Bridge City events everywhere all the damn time. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere, because we have members in Malaysia. We want to be over there with the Malaysians. You know what I'm saying? I got 5 on it. Again, take the check. There it I'll take the credit and the check. Oh man. That is so funny. So, but a big question that we have to sit with when we are finding new community and when we are finding ways to now live out our new normal is especially when you have a relationship with other people, is asking the question, why does finding a new worldview or a new community feel so threatening? That's the question we sit with. And the answer is it's not just about ideas, it's about attachment, it's about loyalty, it's about shared identity, right? And I think this next point is probably the biggest one, at least it is for me. And he called it out, and I love it. He does not want to be perceived as joining a hate circle. And again, that goes back to me why I said, like, me being on certain shows was attracting the wrong audience. And I was like, um, I'm not here to be your executioner. Like that's not who I am. Now I can execute, don't get me wrong, but I'm not here to be anybody's favorite executioner. That's not my character narrative. That's not going to be the arc of my story. I don't want to be you're not going to make me your gladiator, the person that, because then, like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm black, that just makes me feel tokenized at that moment. Like, I'm not the person that say, yeah, let's get Darante in the ring. Yay. No, that's not me. That cut. Your price is way too high. You need to cut it. Okay. That's so, and I love that because of that, we attracted people like this brother to the community. I love that. I might be in Mississippi this Sunday. Well, no, ain't no might. I will be in Mississippi this Sunday. I might be streaming my Sunday sessions from Mississippi this Sunday. That's the other thing. But I'll definitely be in Starkville Sunday, Josh. So he doesn't want to be perceived as joining a hate circle. And that's what I love about Bridge City, is that's what we're not. But he's aware of the optics, and that really matters. He doesn't want his wife to hear, I'm going out to hang with I'm going to hang out with ex-Christians and bash your faith, And I got to be honest with you. I attended an event last year, and that's kind of how I felt, at the event. I felt like, man, this event would be really fun for me if I was the person who just gets excited about talking about Christians. Like, my presentation was on, you can guess it, community. Actually, no. Well, it did end in community, but it was about how religion came to be. I forgot the name of it. The Case for Religion is what I did. But the majority of and I'm not even just talking about the presentations, I'm talking about the side conversation. Any event here in Dallas, Texas, we do have a few members in Dallas, Texas. If you're not already, join our global campus and let's see if we can get something kicked off. I know we got some people trying to bring us down to Miami very soon. So, hey, let's make a tour out of it, if you feel me. But yeah, he doesn't want this to be a thing where it's presented to his wife as just, I'm just going here to bash Christians. And that's what I've seen. I've seen a lot of people, and a part of that is the, recovering from the trauma. But I'm often concerned that in some circles, we might be just recreating trauma bonds. So we just come together to talk about how much we don't like Christians. And from a sociological perspective, I can say there is no health in that. Like other than like just the venting process, but venting shouldn't take that long. We shouldn't have whole conferences of where we just all venting, or we're just talking about how bad the Christians are, because at that moment you preach into the choir and the choir ain't the Christians. And so, like, it's the thing of Bridge City doesn't exist to be that space. Those spaces exist for people who want those spaces, but Bridge City exists to be the space where we live. Okay. This is good. And so, and which is now giving people the ability to explain post-faith community in a way that doesn't sound like bitterness as an identity, where it's not just, I left, I'm mad, everybody else needs to leave too. I'm gonna tell you, the best way to get other people to leave is to show them that it's better over here. But if the only thing we keep showing them is bitterness, then I'm not going to say nobody's going to leave, because some people respond very well to bitterness. But that's typically not the ones you want. Otherwise, you just get a bunch of people. I'm going to make a prediction. Otherwise, you get a bunch of people in the illusion of a community that just spend time tearing each other down. You see what I'm saying? You've already seen it happen. over and over again. You see? And so the to me, this is why I think, and we'll see 10 years from now. We'll see. But I think Bridge City is going to be the fastest engine of helping people deconvert, because the focus won't even be deconversion. The focus will be on connecting better, building better, and living better. And when people see that that is possible without superstition, when people see that it is more feasible without superstition, when people see that it is more measurable without superstition, they're coming. And so his challenge is to make sure that I'm presenting this as betterness, not just bitterness. You know, don't show me how well you can think. Show me how well you live. Okay? Okay? And that's what we got to do. I had been watching atheist content for a while. I think since 2007, maybe 2006. I think I was living in Jacksonville at the time. That was my first time seeing I think the ACA. It was my first time seeing one of their shows, and I'm like, oh, that's good. Where I was, in effect, I wasn't gonna leave. Definitely, everybody sounded smarter than all of the believers that called in. None of them, from where I was and the type of person I was, the type of person I still am, none of them, and this is why I went into sociology. but nothing that I saw back then made me feel like anybody was living a life worth living back. And that was me back then. That's me giving you my mindset of why it took me. That was 2007. I didn't deconvert until 2014. And when I deconverted, it had nothing to do with anything that I had ever heard from any atheist show. Like I said, all of the things that I talk about that are wrong with the Bible, I knew all of that when I was like 12. I found all that out when I was between 12 and 16. So that just wasn't it for me. What was it for me is realizing that, the Bible isn't the reason, and God isn't the reason my life goes this way or that way. That there actually is a measurable way to interrogate my life and adjust to life circumstances and navigate. That was it for me. No, I can live better without it. You know? Like, no, it's not just like, what good is being free if free ain't better? No, freedom for me has to be better. And that's why, that's why I'm a preacher. It's the same thing Joe said, which I'm bringing on the channel next Sunday, I think. But it's the same Joe said, we have the bigger gospel. It's free. This is good. Okay. Man. Just like atoms are the building blocks of matter, we truth seekers are the building blocks to a better planet. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to show people the better, and it's kind of off topic, but it's in the same avenue. That's why it's coming to my mind. But it's just like, someone asked me one time about what do we do about suicide? How do we prevent suicide? And my approach after sitting with it for a while, I was like, I think the only way to keep people from wanting to leave the party is to make the party better. Can't force people to stay at the party. We got to make the party better, right? So if you want people to come to your side of life, don't look like burnt butter biscuits. Your life can't look like burnt butter biscuits, and you telling somebody, hey, I'm doing it the right way. I don't think you do. I don't think you are. Not if your life looked like burnt butter biscuits. See, the only true sign of intelligence to me is a transformed life. And if you can't make all of that information you have make your life better, then what is it worth? And that's how people really judge things. I've been telling people for at least 2 years now that people change their minds on a spectrum of safety. You want more people to deconvert, it needs to look, feel, and actually be safer to deconvert. You remember I don't remember if it was the end of The Wizard of Oz or the end of The Wiz, but at the end, when the Wicked Witch was dead, it was safe and everybody came out. The key, if you want everybody to come out, make it safe. And I don't know how to do that. I do. So come help me. When you don't know what to do, when you don't know how to do, find the people who do and who are active and join. You know, you don't have to know how to build a house to help build a house. Damn, this is good, y'all. You don't have to know how to build a house to help build a house. You don't got to know how to build a house. If you know how to follow instructions, you can help build a house. Come on now. Man. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. You know? Damn it. I hope this is helpful, y'all. All right. So this is important. This aspect of betterness, instead of just bitterness, because a lot of people leaving religion are not trying to become anti-religious caricatures. Now, some of us don't mind being that. I don't mind being the poster child for well, I do, because I've always said I'm not anti-religious. I'm anti-superstitious, and you do with that whatever you will. I consider religion a tool. I consider politics a tool. I consider government a tool. I consider all of these things to be human inventions. And so I am not anti them. I'm anti the way we use them. And in this case, most of our misuses of all of our systems come from superstitions or just, unchecked certainty, borrowed confidence, But the reality is, and this is the danger. This is the danger that I think sometimes we're not being mindful of, is that when people leave religion, they're not trying to become anti-religious. What they're actually trying to do is to become more honest. They're trying to heal. They're trying to learn how to think freely. They're trying to actually experience healthier community, and they're trying to learn new frameworks for meaning. But then they get stuck in the spaces that we've created for them that are more about what we are against than the world that we're for. I got to come back over here to these chats because y'all are lighting it up and it looks really good. I wonder, can I biggie size this on this computer? Yes, I can. Beautifuls. Oh, dang it. But now I can't hit the mouse. I wanted to read these comments real quick, y'all. I visited a unit. Oh, let me move my mic. I visited a Unitarian church when I first bought my house in 2023. We were attempting to find community, but all that kept coming up is I will have to build my own community. Yep, that's it. But the good news, Josh, is we're definitely here to help. So if you want Bridge City's partnership, we will help in every way that we can. I really love the greater gospel theme. I was a Mormon misogynist, not anymore. Proselytizing is the engine of that church. Maybe it will work for this movement. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, like we have a wonderful community, and yeah, one of the things that we try to do is we try to be very innovative and creative with the way that we present our messaging, and so it has a little provocative nature to it, and we come up with this stuff in real time. So I always appreciate it when people see what we're doing, understand the why what we're doing, and most importantly are behind it. So thank you all so much. But yeah, so most times people forget why they left, and that's when they get stuck, right? Like I even caught it for a moment, like you left because you didn't want to spend your life in this anymore. So don't spend your life in this anymore. You left because you wanted a more honest existence. You left because you finally wanted the ability to think freely. So now that you have that freedom, use it for the things that you want. Don't be the person who leaves the abusive relationship and starts stalking the abuser. Okay? Those court cases rarely go well. They rarely go well, okay? So remember why you left and what you want to get out of it. Because then you begin to realize, okay, then the spaces we need, and again, soft spaces to land, safe spaces to live, then the spaces we need are healing spaces. Because yeah, I do need some space to not just vent, right? Because venting doesn't lead to healing, grieving does. See, venting is about what somebody else did, grieving is about what I lost. Y'all hear me? You hear me? See, one of these is healing, the other one is harmful, unchecked. Venting is about what happened, you know. Grieving is about what I lost and how I'm dealing with that. And so a lot of times some people are stuck because they've not even gone through the grieving process. And so let me talk to somebody real quick. Listen, if you're watching and you deconstructed years ago and you're still stuck in anger, that might be because you've been venting, but you haven't grieved yet. You have to allow yourself, for your own emotional health, for your own emotional integrity, for your own sense of fidelity, to go through the grieving process. Have you grieved what you lost? Have you grieved what you did or what you didn't do? Have you grieved how you treated people or how you didn't treat people? That's most important. So a lot of times people need that reminder that no, I didn't leave to be bitter. I left to be better. And so spaces that exist for me need to exist for my betterment, not my bitterness. Damn. And that's something you always have to pay attention to. That's one thing I even teach people in my community. You have to recognize how people are approaching you. Are you helping me? Are you helping me heal? Or are you helping me stay stuck? Are you helping me get better? Is this helping me get better? Or is this helping me stay bitter? Because I can't do nothing with that. You know? Eesh. And having that information can help, people like this brother to say, yeah, I'm not joining a group to attack you. I'm joining a group where I don't have to pretend. And we're all going to get the best out of this, because I'm going to be a better person, whether you come or not, and because I'm not in that religious space anymore, I'm not trying to convert you. I'll invite you. You can say no, and we still have a good relationship. See, a lot of times people assume, because I talk about secular avoidance on this channel a lot of times, or I've talked about it before in the past. And secular avoidance is something that it's this trigger that we have, where the moment anything looks like church, we kind of and what we have to remember is that that's a trigger. That's not a logical response. It's a trigger reaction, not a logical response. We all have trigger reactions. We all have, I don't want anybody to feel bad for your trigger reactions. We all have them. When my daughter picked out some stuff that I didn't want her to wear, I had a trigger reaction, not a logical response. There was no reason for me to respond that way. It touched a trigger, right? Dang, I just realized I missed some of the, there we go. Okay, yeah, it came back up. And so it was a trigger. And so we all have those. And so secular avoidance is one of those triggers where, and if y'all think y'all triggered by Bridge City now, just wait. Just wait till we get a band. Like, oh, bro, y'all gonna be triggered the fuck out, But just remember, it's a triggered reaction, not a logical response. Allow yourself to think through it, Sometimes people say, oh, he sounds too much like a preacher. And he said, so are you saying he sounds like Joel Osteen? Well, no, he don't sound like Joel Osteen. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You saying he sound like Joyce Myers? Well, no, he don't sound like Joyce Myers. Anybody get where I'm going with this, Ed? You might be saying that he sounds culturally black. And that's how you know, like, no, it wasn't a logical response, trigger reaction. You're welcome. I like helping people. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So we have this thing that I call secular avoidance. But again, it's a trigger reaction, not a logical response. At the end of the day, it's based in discrimination and bias. But on the flip side, there's this other type of avoidance where people assume that a secular gathering, and this is what believers kind of assume, people assume that a secular gathering is just a reverse church. So sometimes people think that, and this is like on the good side and the negative side. There are people who are in support of Bridge City who probably thinks Bridge City is going to be a reverse church. And then there are other people who, you know, and in a good way, like, yeah, I'm gonna go to a reverse church, in a sense of like it's a place that we go to bash Christians. We're just gonna do church, but we're gonna do the opposite of what they do in church. And remember, that's that polarity shift. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not interested in that. It's not, Bridge City is not reverse church. It's what church was supposed to be. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for me. No, Bridge City is not reverse church. It's the evolution of church. It's where church would have went if it didn't get trapped in evolution from its, if it didn't get stuck in superstition from its beginning, from its inception. Someone asked, what are your thoughts on metaphysics? I don't have any. I think community is great. Community accepts all, helps all, loves all. Yes. Yes. That's one of the reasons why, even when I talk about Bridge City as a community, we've stopped using the word secular to describe Bridge City. Like, it's not a secular community, it's a community. Adding the word secular to it is redundant. You know, like, no, it's a community. Oh man, I love this. And so there is a bashing stigma, and it's not even just a stigma, it's what many places have become. It's what many places really are. Government in the Constitution, then seeing them praying over Trump, a criminal, they're not trying not to mind it is difficult for me. Well, I hope you know that's not new. Like, they've been praying in the White House for like forever. You know, so it's not, stuff like that doesn't really bother me. But it doesn't bother me primarily because, like, I'd prefer to change it than be bothered by it. Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. But yeah, I get it. I get it. A lot of people are hyper focused on what goes on in the White House. And I'm not 100% against that. Of course, you need to know what's going on in the White House, but that's a part of what's leading to the fracturing communities, because then we're not hyper focused on our neighbors. We're not hyper focused on our communities. We're not hyper focused on what's going on in our cities and towns. And I did a video a few years ago on this, not a few years ago, it's probably last year, about leapfrogging, because I noticed that happens in climates that are politically charged. Is everybody has strong opinions about things that they have no attachment to. And just for me, that's not an exercise in intelligence. It's like, no, if I'm really concerned about this, then I need to be trying to get closer to it in proximity to do something about it. And if I'm not going to try to get in closer proximity to do something about it, then I need to find something closer to me that I can do something about. Otherwise, I'm kind of outsourcing my concern to things that I can't do anything about, and not giving myself any energy to the things that I can do something about. And therefore, we have less people doing things that they can do something about. And that's the status of a lot of stuff that's going on, you know? Showing you who's the man. That's hilarious. Oh man. And so one of the biggest things, one of the biggest ways that we get past the bashing stigma for Brit City as a community is like our values are like our mission is up front. We're here to help people connect better, build better, live better. Our values are up front. We're forward thinking, we're people centric, we're life affirming, right? What you don't hear in any of that is what we're against. You're only hearing what we're for. And so this helps people, this helps our members explain to whoever's in their lives that um, we're not just about deconstruction, we're about construction. And the point of deconstruction isn't just because, ooh, religion is bad. For us, the focus of deconstruction is if there's anything in your life that you're attached to that you're finding is harmful and you want to safely unpack it, we want to help. You know? Now, Darante, as an atheist, he's like, oh yeah, religion is bad. What then again, I'm being tongue in cheek there. As a sociologist, I can't say that. As a sociologist, I can't say religion is bad. What most of us think when we think religion, we think of the religions that we are most familiar with. And we then judge all classifications of religion by that one class. And that's just a category error. So that's why I can't say that religion is bad. And that's why I've always tried to make very clear since I've been public that I am anti-superstition, not anti-religion. Religion is a tool. I'm not the anti-tool guy. Tim, the anti-tool man. I don't like that. All right. That's a old joke for people who grew up in the 90s. Damn, listen, if you grew up in the 90s, hey, you're about to be 40. I know that's right. Oh, that's beautiful. Y'all are wonderful, man. Let me get over here and get back into these chats. I didn't even see that. Thank y'all so much for this. I didn't see that earlier, Monica. How did I miss that? I must have been in the zone. I must have been in the zone. Bruh, y'all are blessing me. Take the money. We get so much from these conversations. It's worth supporting and sharing. Get involved with Bridge City in any way you can. We are the change that we want to see in the world. Yes, Shelwyn, we are. We are the change that we want to see in the world. Thank you so much for your support, brother. I love you. This is good. I was supposed to be done like 15 minutes ago. So I'm gonna hit this last point and then I'm gonna roll out, which means I think I had like 3 more points, but I'll end it at this one. The biggest, and maybe I'll do part 2 of this next week. We'll see. Don't hold me to it. The biggest thing is getting permission to have a life that matches your values. Getting permission to have a life, to live a life that matches where you are. And I feel like what makes Bridge City so unique is that that's what we're trying to create for people, a place for people to live as their authentic selves while having the support of community, and the reason that's so necessary, because it doesn't just impact how we feel, it impacts how we do, okay? It doesn't just impact how we feel, it impacts how we show up in the world. And we're small now. And when I say small, I mean like it's nearly 200 of us on the global campus, but we're small now. And Sunday sessions now normally gets anywhere between 700 to 1,000 views, but we're small now. As we continue to grow, it becomes real community. And as I say, you can't confuse community with a hiking club or a book club. Those things are a part of community. None of those things, yep, none of those things can really provide all of the things that community provides, but Bridge City is capable of providing that for people. And so eventually that becomes, sometimes people can't get the job they want in life because they don't have any references. Community gives you references. You see what I'm saying? As we build local communities. When I was a pastor, one of the most overlooked benefits of being a member of a church, especially if it's like a Black outreach community, contemporary style church like mine was, is that you never have to move by yourself. And I mean that, like literally, if anybody in my church ever needed to move, like, oh, I got to move this weekend, with like almost automatically, somebody would say, hey, well, I got a truck. Do you need any help? And somebody else said, well, hey, my sons, they out of school this week. You need any help from them? And somebody else might even say, well, shoot, if you're going to be moving all day, who's going to be cooking? I'll come over there and cook something. So after y'all moving, you have, that's the power of community. And it's not just that that's a fun time. It is a reminder that you are not alone. And that's what many people are dealing with after they leave religion and their lives are completely disoriented. Now, anytime they need help, they have to open a GoFundMe. GoFundMe is getting rich off of people without community. Y'all ain't ready for this. Y'all ain't ready for this. Yeah. Getting rich because people don't have people to call on. People don't have people to depend on. People don't have people to work with. I was having a conversation about 2 years ago with some people. And when we were in the conversation, one of the guys, he was like, man, you know what? Like, what I miss is just having people to hang out with, and having people to talk to. And he was like, this is something that he really missed. He says, ever since I've left, that world, I don't have that anymore. And I told him, let me tell you why. Because we hang with, are y'all ready for this? Who we work with. All right. And so the reason he had so many people to work with when he was in that world, or so many people to hang with when he was in that world, is because he was working with those people. All right. So now guess what? Bridge City is giving people to work with. Now that the work no longer solely depends on me, people are getting to know Ashley. They're getting to know Zerniel. They're getting to know my wife. They're getting to know Anna. They're getting to know, we got people all over, and they're getting to know each other and building relationships with each other. You get it? Like, that's the key. That's where the betterment starts happening. You get new memories, you get new connections, you get new opportunities, you're volunteering together, you get new skills. And yes, when you're volunteering for Bridge City, there's stuff that you're doing for us that goes on resumes, baby. That's the power of community. Community isn't a theological response, it's a sociological response. Doctrine is a theology issue. Community is a sociology issue. We don't do community to believe the same things. Trust me, as a pastor, no two members in my church believed the same things. Hell, half of them didn't even show up with the same Bible. Some got the NIV, some got the NASB, some got the GWT, some got the Passion Translation, which even don't even have the Old Testament in it. So when I'm preaching about David, they just lost. No. Community is not about shared beliefs. Community is about shared responsibility. Community is about shared existence. Community is about shared living. In the contemporary church space, we used to say we come to church to do life together. So that's the thing. Like, the secular community has done such a bang up job of turning church into a caricature that you don't even know why you're losing again. You don't know what you're losing against. You think you're losing against fire and brimstone. That shit was played out 30, 40 years ago. And I've told y'all have heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. If you've never worked in leadership of a religious organization, if you've never been on the inside, you should not be one of the people critiquing it as an expert, because an expert you are not. And if we are going to be seriously rational, then we need to be holding that standard across the paint. I would not take a person seriously who's arguing with me about evolutionary biology if they had no experience in studying, researching, and experimenting with evolutionary biology. But in the secular community, anybody who has an opinion about Christianity or the church can just all of a sudden be an expert, and nobody asks, so what is your experience? And now this is why like 75% of the information that is spread about the church in the secular community is wrong. It's like horribly wrong. And this is why many Christians, when they see some of the stuff, they're like, I know that sounds impressive to you. Okay, I didn't mean to go there. Yes, I did. All right, let me make sure there's nothing else in my notes that is oh, okay, I gotta hit this one. And I don't know, because the question, like, how do I live my life freely after leaving the faith? And he's, and again, him and his wife already know, like, they've had the conversation that he's not a believer anymore. He's not going to church, but now he's ready to leave his life because of Bridge City. He's ready to live his life, and ready to build community with others. And he wants to figure out the best way to do it. And so I do want to hit this one, and that is, compassion does not require self-erasure. Nope. Listen, your spouse's feelings matter, your parents' feelings matter, your children's feelings matter, your second grade teacher, whoever, everybody feelings matter, but your honesty also matters. Compassion. No, I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to be considerate, but I'm also going to be me. And you can be compassionate and considerate of me or not. But that's where it has to be. Kindness should not lead to indefinite self-suppression. I'm the fool on the hill. I am laughing my ass off. Kindness should not lead to indefinite self-suppression. That's one place where I refuse to live. I lived there for 10 years. I did for a decade after deconstruction, after deconversion. I lived there for 10 years, self-erasure, and realized, like, it's not just robbing me of being me. It's robbing me of friends that appreciate me. It's robbing me of relationships that value me. Life had got really lonely in those 10 years because I now no longer had anybody else who knew me for real, except for my wife and my kids. And now there's not too many places you can go where I'm not known. Look at there. Look at me. Y'all got to catch that. Yeah, catch it. All right. Dang it. There's so much in this that I want to hit. I think I'm going to have to do a part 2. I got to hit this one as well. Marriage after deconstruction is often a renegotiation of shared values. So as I was transitioning into my second marriage, because I didn't stay divorced long. I didn't stay single long. Number one, I like sex. Yeah. Who doesn't? Some people. Asexual is a thing. But even in my second relationship, before we got, like, I was going to say before we got too serious, but I think it was like right after we got married. It had to be a little longer after we got married, because it was when we were in the nice house, I think. Yeah, it was when we were in the nice house where I finally was just like, hey, I got to tell you something. And if you want to divorce me after this, I'll be fine with it. And, totally. Listen, I don't believe oh no, dental nonsense. Oh, dang, I'm sorry, Kai. But and I tell you, like, I don't actually believe in God. I'm probably never gonna be a pastor again, and Christianity is bullshit to me. And if you need to leave, because my current wife's her parents, her family is very hyper religious, or at least some of the people, like her mama and her grandmama is, and those are very important people to her. And so I was like, yeah, this is going to be problematic. But she was like, boy, please, I don't care about that. And apparently she didn't, you know. But marriage after deconstruction is often a renegotiation of shared values, because when people marry under Christianity, it's not only about the belief, it's the shared framework that the marriage began with. So like, and I thought about that myself because I just recently was asked to do some marriage counseling and possibly a wedding for someone. And I was thinking about what would I say now? Because the last wedding I did it as an atheist undercover. But like you always say, I pronounce you husband and wife. Like, I don't want to say that. Like, I'm not pronouncing anything. Like, we're going to say something different. Like, you are now pronouncing each other. I don't know. But anyway, but the questions becomes what still holds us together, what values remain, what has changed, and what can be rebuilt on new terms. And again, outside of hyper religious exceptions, most people aren't, and I'm talking about believers here. Most believers that are married aren't really building their marriage off of Christian principles. It's just Christian identity, right? And so when you bring in the questions, it helps the conversation stop being antagonistic. A lot of times, okay, and I guess I got to say this. Yeah, I guess I got to. A lot of times we are our own worst enemy, because when we get free, sometimes we go into conversion mode. We go into conversion mode, and conversion mode feels a lot like an attack. You don't think that, but it feels a lot like an attack, because hear me, conversion is colonization. It's trying to colonize somebody else. You're telling them, listen, I've evolved. I'm civilized. I now know this is bullshit. You're not civilized, so let me come beat you up about it. Like, you might not want to do that with the people you love. And so again, your authenticity doesn't have to be an attack on anybody else. Your authenticity can just be your autonomy, especially if it's a relationship you care about preserving, especially if it's a relationship you need to preserve for your own best interest. Then you don't make your new identity about who they're not. Well, I can't believe y'all know I know this isn't true and y'all still gonna believe it. Okay, so now at that moment, you're no longer operating in logic. You're in incredulity. I can't believe y'all still believe this. Why can't you believe that they still believe this? There's a whole bunch of people that still believe this. As a sociologist, I can walk you through the environments and explain to you why people still believe this. All right. So ain't no need of, don't turn your evolution of identity into an attack of other people, especially people you care about. Don't bring troll culture into your home. It's okay, I guess, to troll people online. Don't troll your spouse. It's not going to make for a healthy marriage unless you want to be divorced. Now, if you want to be divorced, troll away. But even then, or just get a divorce without having to aggravate somebody. Think about that. I think that's good advice. All right. When you move it from that, like, you can really, the question is no longer do we still believe the same things. It's do we still share love? Do we still have mutual respect for one another? Do we still care for another? Do we still have the same commitment to the family? Are we still going to be honest with each other? Are we still going to be compassionate towards each other? Do you still like the way my ass look in these jeans? And I mean, if you still like the way my ass look in these jeans, then what I don't believe anymore shouldn't have, the ass going to be the same in those jeans, So it's, sometimes we can hype ourselves up into becoming incendiary when it's not really there. It's just a moment where we need to renegotiate where we are in the relationship, right? And of course, what I absolutely loved about this question is this is one of the most human questions I've gotten, where again, it's not about how to win against the other person. It's how to win this relationship. How do I value this person that I'm in a relationship with. I want to work on, I want to be a better me, and I want to now live freely with my new identity. I want to go hang out with my other Bridge City members, and I don't want my wife to feel like she's attacked. And I think the good news is that Bridge City has been very mindful of people just like that. And that's one of the things that I can't wait to see, especially as we expand overseas. Because it's right now, like, there are places where people can't have these type of conversations at all. But Bridge City gets to be a bridge where you're not asking somebody to, hey, come go to something that can be called a hate group by the government. You know what I'm saying? There's a method to the madness. All right. I'm going to close right here, y'all, because I've been at it for over 2 hours. And I do have like a lot of work to do. But y'all have been exceptional today. I missed another one. Y'all are beautiful. We appreciate the things you are doing for this community. Thank you so much. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all are the reason why. Y'all are the motivation. We are in this together. I tell people, like, I'm not necessarily a leader of people. I'm a leader of the vision. But it's your leadership of yourselves that's going to help us create this better world. At the end of the day, it won't be people saying, ooh, Darante, I've never seen a man like that. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be, man, Bridge City, I've never seen a community like that. I've never seen people like that. And that's more important. It does no good for one of us to be great while the rest of us are, left behind and say, oh, we watched. That's not the future of humanity. I did. Yeah. That's not the future of humanity. The future of humanity is what we can do together. And I was trying to make this all deep, but I'm looking for a song and I cannot find it. Oh, there it is. Okay. I got to have a song to play out for y'all. Y'all know I got to do my music. It's just like church. We got to play y'all some music out. Even though we're playing some, we're going to be playing a little club music today. Are y'all ready for some club music? Can y'all handle club music? Is it going to be too much for y'all? All right, y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. I hope y'all enjoyed this song. It's called "It's About to Be a Party." It's going to be dropping very soon. Let's see how it goes.
When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town, about to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? About to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? A sophisticated gentleman, intelligent and tolerant. I'm bothering your politics and breaking down the college tricks. We out of school, so classes out. Fuck all your pedigree, fuck all your clout. Lift everybody and bring them all out. This is the message we preaching about. This is rising tides and we gon' keep it rising. This is our horizon as we're modernizing. Fuck your harmonizing and apologetics. Fuck your bishops and your fed clerics. Stop the cursing, it's hereditary. When you're out here reversing the seminaries and we're pulling our future from cemeteries. Out here clown around like this shit that is dairy. Fuck all the bullshit is sedentary. Everything else is just secondary. Hating that shit is not necessary. It's too predatory, too reactionary. No imagination is an adversary. No congratulations, get you past the parry. This is how you stand up, this is how you carry. This is how you lay it and it's how you bury. When we pull up in your city, it's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. It's about to be a party. When we pull up in your city, it's about to go down. We about to go wild, about to rock the whole town, about to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? About to bring them all out. Call it people gone wild. Now they looking at your boy like, what the hell he talking about? Yeah.